Live from Pepsi Studios in New York City, it's the Hospitality Hangout Podcast with the restaurant guy and the finance guy. Everything's better with Pepsi. Jimbo, we got a show today I got to tell you, it could be better than any show ever in the history of the Hospitality Hangout.
Setting a high bar.
But Jimbo, I mean, we've got like 200 podcasts in the can now, huh?
And they said it would never last.
And they said it wouldn't last. I got to tell you, Jimbo, I am thirsty. I just drove in from the Hamptons. I had Seder. I had to drive back and forth. I'm running around the country for Seders. I got to tell you, I am loving this Pure Leaf iced tea.
And me, my family's all about Starry. But however, I like Starry's Tito's and Starry, Don Julio and Starry. You know, zhuzh the Starry a little bit.
I got to tell you, I was thinking about another thing that we can do, like Starry mixes with vodka and tequila.
Yes. I personally like it with an anejo. I think we just go with Julio and Starry.
I want to do ranch water with Starry.
Oh, ranch water.
Right?
By the way, can you tell our listeners what ranch water is? Because if you're east of the Mississippi, I don't think you know what ranch water is.
You know, Andre Venner from Doghouse, he comes in one day to one of our restaurants and he orders a ranch water. The bartenders look at him like he's out of his mind. And, you know, he's a cool cat from out West Coast, right?
West Coast.
And that's where the cool stuff starts. They look at him like he's cross-eyed. And he's like, it's a tequila and soda with a lime.
Tequila, soda,
The
lime.
bartender's like, why don't you just say tequila and soda with a lime?
It's cool to say ranch water.
So now it seems to be moving a little bit more.
Moving east.
I know when we were in Scottsdale, I said ranch water. Everyone
knew what it was.
You said ranch water. Everyone knew what you were talking about.
Ranch water. They asked what kind of tequila you want.
No, exactly. Let's kick it off,
All
Jimbo, because we got a great show.
Yes, we do. We do have we're setting a high bar, but by the way, we're going to blow through this. I first and foremost want to welcome you more formally to the Hospitality Hangout, a hospitality-focused podcast where the founders of Branded share their insights and bring technology and innovation leaders that are making things happen in the industry we love. My name is Jimmy Frischling, otherwise known as the finance guy. I'm going to bring back my brother from another mother, Mr. Michael Schatzberg, also known as the restaurant guy.
Oh, and thank you for that kind introduction, Jimmy, and to all those listening. Feel free to call me Shatzy. We are the voices behind Branded Hospitality Ventures, Branded Strategic Hospitality. Jimmy, we have so many names, I can't keep track of our names.
Branded.
We are Branded. We're the guys behind Branded, okay? And
what are we at the intersection of? I always know your mood based on how many things we're at the intersection of.
We're at the intersection of a lot of things, but today we're at the intersection of hospitality, technology, innovation, investment, capital, and big chicken.
I was going to say at the intersection of emerging QSR brands,
not big chicken.
Don't give away that.
When I say big chicken, I'm talking like I like big chicken.
You like a big chicken?
I don't like a skinny chicken. Like a 3-pounder's too small.
Want a big chicken? Listen, we're very excited for the episode. We have our good friend and our partner, Mr. Josh Halpern, joining us today, a second-time guest of the Hospitality Hangout. Mr. Josh Halpern, CEO of Big Chicken.
He was on before his bar mitzvah, I think.
You really go with Seders, Diano. If you just want to say Seders.
You give me 2 nights of Seder. I'm feeling it right now. Diano.
Listen, it's going to be a very good episode. We're going to have a lot of fun. And I promise you, Josh Halpern is in the studio. He is live.
Will he speak
in
today?
The studio? And he will get to speak, but not before we play our game of Trivia Tuesday, because we launched the podcast on Tuesdays. All the listeners of the Hangout know how the game is played, but if you're new to the Hangout, Trivia Tuesday, I'm going to give you 3 factoids about our friends.
I got this wrong last week.
And by the way, you've not been on your best run. They've been by the way, really this one I have to tell you, I read, I think it's going to be a tough one. We give you 3 factoids about our friend, Mr. Halpern. 2 are true, and 1 is not true, also known as a lie. I just don't like saying lie, okay? Shatsy.
Fib, Jimmy.
A fib. You stick around to the end of the episode, Shatsy will make his guess. You can play along at home, and then Mr. Halpern will reveal which were the 2 truths and which was a not truth. All right? Here are the 3 factoids. Fact 1. Josh had to be separated from an altercation with Mr. 305, also known as Pitbull.
So you're saying Josh got into a fight with Pitbull?
Josh once had to be separated from an altercation with Pitbull.
I could see that. Josh is a very funny guy, but some people might not think he's funny.
There you go. Okay. Fact 2.
I could see him pissing off Pitbull.
Josh was on an episode of Kitchen Nightmares with Gordon Ramsay.
I don't recall him ever saying that. Like in conversation, I feel like broken bread with Josh. I feel like he'd brag about that. You're not bragging about getting in a fight with Pitbull.
Okay, by the way, this is a new way we're doing the Trivia Tuesday. Shatz is opining on each one as we go, which is great fun.
I think our listeners want to hear what
fact
Shatzy
3.
thinks.
By the way, this one I thought was very special. Fact 3. Josh invented the Peeps Pop. And as the only one on this episode, actually,
Peeps, talking about like the Easter little thing? Peeps?
By the way, so I have a 7-year-old, so I want you to know I'm very familiar with the Peeps Pop. It's an irresistible combination of fluffy yellow marshmallow on the inside and delicious milk chocolate on the outside.
Jimmy. Nobody likes a Peep.
I gotta tell you, my family,
you eat
nobody.
the Peep.
My daughter likes the Peep.
There's nobody she likes the Peeps. I mean, they're adorable. I like playing with the Peep.
People either love the Peep or hate the Peep.
My daughter loves the Peep. So again, fact 1, altercation with Mr. 305 had to be separated. Fact 2, he was on an episode of Kitchen Nightmares with Sir Gordon Ramsay. Fact 3, invented the Peeps Pop. That, by the way, I think that's awesome.
I could see inventing the Peeps Pop because nobody wants that. So he invented it because no one else. You know why no one thought of it? Because nobody wanted it.
Wow. Backwards compliments. By the way, that's why Josh is going to pick you.
Nobody wanted
that. He's going to beat you in the quickfire. All right, enough banter. Let us please bring in our friend, Mr. Halpern. No, not yet.
No.
It was a bait and switch.
Oh, I see what you did. Josh got so excited. Josh took a breath. He's like, oh. No. Before we dig in.
I know.
We like to understand who are our guests.
The Fraser Crane moment of the podcast.
How did our guest get to the positions?
Yes.
Where was Josh back in 85? The cute little Josh Halpern. Where was he? Let's go back to Cornell. It's 2001. He's up in, where is that? Like Ithaca?
Not like Ithaca. It's Ithaca.
It's cold. It's bitter cold up there. And he's saying to himself, what am I doing here? But he loves hospitality. He loves restaurants. He loves hotels. He loves that. He knows he loves that, but he doesn't understand what to do. So he goes to Babson to get his MBA.
Yeah, because anyone who loves hospitality goes to Babson to get the MBA. Everybody.
Listen to me. It's all going to make sense once we dig in, okay? And let me tell you, not only does he go to Babson, but while he's at Cornell and Babson, he finds that he has a knack for archery. At camp, I don't know what he was doing, but, when you were out playing basketball, Josh, he's an archer. He loves Robin Hood. He loves archery, big in archery. And somehow his love of archery gets him into consumer packaged goods. If you think about archers at like Robin Hood and Procter & Gamble,
yes,
it goes together like peanut butter and jelly. And he's at Clorox because nothing says hospitality like Clorox.
Got to keep it clean.
You got to keep it clean, Jimmy. You know what I mean? So he works on the Mike and Ike account, the little delicious treats that you love. By the way, maybe a giveaway, Peeps. He worked with Peeps back in his days
tamales,
in the candy
peanut
business.
Chews.
So he was always working there. But then he gets his big break. Somebody saw how talented this guy was. A little company you might know, not that Procter & Gamble and Clorox are not big companies, they are, but AB InBev, Budweiser, somehow they get connected with this Josh Halpern. The chairman of Budweiser was a huge archer, loved archery. And somehow he found out that this Josh Halpern liked archery and they're going to arch together. Some people go hunting and they shoot together with guns.
Yes.
This guy likes to arch. Josh Halpern, he becomes the CEO of Beer Park, which is the biggest seller of Budweiser in the world. They sell more Budweiser beer than anybody in the whole world. I understand more Budweiser than all the other restaurants in the whole world combined. Yeah. Beer Park sells. And from there, Mr. Josh Halpern, we're going to bring him in a second. But you know what he did? He became the CEO of Big Chicken. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, here he is. The chairman of the board, the CEO, the founder, the man, the legend, the myth, Josh Halpern.
Wow,
Big Chicken.
Chats. Let me tell you something. If there was ever a biopic about my life that you wrote, it would have to start, this is absurdly based on very, very, very loose event.
But I heard the History Channel is doing a documentary on you.
Yeah.
And they've asked me to help them with that.
Yeah, which is going to be great because people will be like, that's not his life, right? I mean, I can't.
What, did I get anything right? Did you go to Cornell?
I went to Cornell. I worked for those companies. That's about it, but that's all good.
Yeah.
It's why I'm glad to be here. And it's also
we take liberties, Josh.
But the most important thing, even though we don't know what date this is going to air on yet.
Passover in 25.
It's your birthday. So everybody
Go.
should today, if you're listening to this, text, email, call, send flowers, send edible arrangements, whatever you need to do. Please reach out to Michael Schatzberg and wish him a very happy birthday today, even though we don't know what day this is going to air yet. Today is his birthday.
Passover 2025. My birthday.
By the way, I'm glad you said arrangements because we said edible. I really didn't know where you were taking this for Shatz's birthday. But you quickly said edible arrangements, and in which case I felt relieved. We have some kids listening at home. This might be Josh's second appearance on the Hangout, but Josh is our only, the machine, the algorithms, Josh is the only five-time member. Five-time. We owe him a jacket, five-time jacket member of the B-list.
We're going to go with like robes, I think.
I would give him robes. I have to tell you, the only, if you don't know about the B-list, check it out. By the way, it's the algorithm, the machine, people that are influencing.
How many times has Josh been on the
Five times. The only.
I wasn't listening to that. I thought it was on the podcast five
No,
times.
Twice in the podcast, including today. 5 times on the B-list. Listen, usually Shatsy gets to break news because our producer
Wait a minute,
Julie.
I hear
because our producer Julie likes to favor Shatsy, but today Drew is stepping in to produce this episode. She gave me the breaking news, and I'm gotta tell you, this is legit. I get to ask Josh after breaking news. Bring the music back in.
Back in more. This is the breaking news.
This is the breaking news. Big Chicken has just launched in the United Kingdom, the big UK. Big Chicken going global. By the way, that is a big deal for Big Chicken.
Big deal for Big
young,
Chicken.
emerging QSR restaurant has now gone global, and I'm thrilled that we have Josh here to break this news. Mr. Halpern, what can you tell us about going global across the pond in the UK?
Yeah, we're global. By the time this airs, we'll be global. We're really close with Tim Lai Wiki and Oakview Group.
Can you spell that?
Lai Wiki?
Yeah.
I can actually. Are we doing spelling bee?
Well, I don't know. It just sounded like an interesting name to spell.
Would you like me to use like Wiki in a sentence? Tim Lai Wiki is the CEO of Oakview Group. Oakview, Lai Wiki.
I love it.
So Tim Lai Wiki, very close friend of the company, very close friend of Shaquille's. He's been bringing Big Chicken into many arenas all over the U.S. When Co-op Live, which will be the largest live music venue in Europe, opens, we will be in it. And we're going to be entering Canada the same way later this year. Thank you very much. And we've got Central America now going with brick-and-mortars that are currently being built. So by the end of this year, we'll be in 4 or so countries, and we're going to start global.
Your first Big Chicken in an arena, was that out on Long Island? Or
the first arena was in Climate Pledge out in Seattle, but UBS built right around the same time.
Yes. Can you just share with the audience, when Big Chicken showed up at the UBS arena where the Islanders play, did the crowd care?
It was crazy. I'm a little scared of the arena, right? Because I get to travel with Shaquille a lot. We were there 3 or 4 days before construction ended on the arena for like the press conference with the arena. We're walking with Shaquille through UBS Arena, and you see like construction workers hammering nails, and like they'd be like mid-hammer and they'd see Shaquille and they'd drop the hammer and come like running after us. I'm like, I don't know if that's safe over there. I don't know if I want to sit over there. It was a really big deal because even though no one had ever heard of Big Chicken, everyone obviously knows who Shaquille is. He was with us for the grand opening of UBS, for that opening press conference, and did a whole thing with the veterans and with the John Ledecky, the owner of the Islanders. And in that arena, we actually have a sandwich. It's like a buffalo chicken sandwich on an orange and blue bagel for the Islanders colors. And we get Instagram photos of that sandwich almost every single day. We're one of the biggest draws in that arena. So it's been fantastic.
I love it. I got to tell you, am I right in saying there will be a Big Chicken in every country in the world within the next year? Am I correct in saying that?
That would follow the same truth versus fiction of my life story, I think.
You did go to Cornell.
I did go to Cornell.
All right, then. Okay.
So, but not for hospitality. But the beautiful thing about this brand is everyone that's tried the food likes the food, and everyone knows Shaquille and respects Shaquille. So we've had a lot more opportunity than a lot of other brands, and we've built ourselves in a way where we can kind of grow as we can grow, right?
So all kidding aside, let's just talk about your expansion plans and opening restaurants and running franchises. It's unit level economics matter, right? You can just keep on opening stores, but each store, they have to make money. Share a little about your strategy, your growth strategy. Why are you going to certain markets? Why other countries? Why other states? What's the idea?
Yeah, I mean, look, at the end of the day, if you're franchising your business, you're not really in the restaurant industry, you're in the franchising industry. We say that our business objective, our sole business objective, is a maniacal focus, and we use that word maniacal deliberately. A maniacal focus on franchisee unit level economics. And that means we're constantly looking at how do we absorb occupancy better? How do we have the right labor model? How do we look to optimize food costs? And to optimize food costs, you need to have a really kick-ass supply chain that you can scale anywhere in the country and soon anywhere in the world with. But
that's got to be a challenge. You're in America and we hear, the supply chain, I don't know, your background, you probably have a much better understanding, certainly your years at InBev, of how that works. Now you start going to other countries. That's got to be a challenge.
Not really.
It's not a challenge at all, Jimmy. That's what I like. It's not a challenge at all.
It's not that it's not a challenge. You got to come in with the end goal in mind. And that end goal is, what's it going to take to win in this country with the right unit level economics? How do you work with as many local suppliers as possible versus shipping things all over the world? A lot of people fall into just looking at the price of stuff versus what it costs to get it there too. We're very, very disciplined in our approach, and it's allowed us to start building a supply chain in multiple countries.
Josh and I have had the privilege of spending some quality time together, in part because he and his team, and a big shout out to our friend Sam, they're very tech forward thinkers. And part of it is they know who their key customer is. And it's really the operators and it's the franchisees. The idea is they want to make sure these operators are taking care of their guests. And I think that's on brand for Branded, because we keep thinking about tech for operators. It's got to deliver value for the operators, not try to pierce the relationship between the operator and their guests. Josh, you and I have had many conversations about tech, certainly from the micro level, but in taking a step back, going top down or macro, it's amazing to think about what's transformed or how tech has accelerated really in just the last 4 or 5 years. What a different experience we're seeing. And not to go down memory lane, but when I was in college, because Shatz and I are old as dirt, we didn't have laptops. We didn't have email. We had a desktop. We had a dial-up. I had my Macintosh. That was a big deal. Now here we are, a 23-year-old today has only known a digital world. And I'm not saying one's better or worse. It's just different. So Josh, my question to you is,
There is a question.
You have a workforce, that could span, 4 decades. And you have a group that maybe has grown up in a less than digital age, and you have a group that's only known a digital age. How do you build an ecosystem with generations that really approach this differently? But at the end of the day, they have different experiences, but you got to bring them together on the Big Chicken platform and your tech stack. How do you make that happen?
It's all of it, right? It's guests, it's your employees, and in many ways, your employees are the new guest. It's hard to do. I think we're 10 years apart in age, give or take. When I went to college...
You look a lot older than Jimmy. I didn't realize you were 10 years older.
No, I'm the older one, Chet.
Yeah,
Josh.
I'm the younger one.
Oh, I had no idea. Oh, okay.
But I mean, when I went off to college, I was like one of 3 people.
Jimmy has a 7-year-old, so he's very young.
Well, yeah,
young
7-year-old will keep him young at heart, right? Nobody had tech. I had a cell phone my first semester senior year of college, and I had no one I could call because no one else had a cell phone. And even if
Was it that, Josh, or was it a friend issue? He's like, I had no one to call. No, because you didn't have any friends.
No one else had cell phones.
We talked about this. We don't insult our guests.
Yeah.
That wasn't insulting. Some people don't want to have friends.
This is what happens because 400 people just texted him wishing him a happy birthday.
Yeah, exactly.
And at the time, you only had 400 minutes a month, right? Which, was crazy. It's moved so damn fast, right? This tech thing, every 2 to 3 years, different. As a CEO, whether you're talking about your guests or your team, you almost need to speak multi-generationally the way that you would speak in different languages if you were traveling all over the world, or at least you'd want to, right? Most Americans speak 1, maybe 2. But you have to speak Boomer, speak Gen X, speak Gen Y, speak Gen Z, speak Gen Alpha, which Jimmy and my kids are. And that's going to be a complete cluster when they reach working age. But as a result of it, we chose our loyalty platform, and we work with Thanks, and we absolutely love Zach Goldstein and that team.
Doing good things over there, Zach Goldstein.
But we chose to work with them because we at least wanted you to be able to redeem your loyalty rewards in a way that was on generation, and more often than not, a kind of a choose your own adventure. So you can tell us, this is how I want to interact with you because I want Big Chicken in my heart.
I love it, and it dovetails beautifully into, Jimmy, what I like to call data. Or do I say data? What do I say, Jimmy? I forget. Am I data and your data, or your data and I'm data?
I'm data, you're data. I'm data.
You're data. I'm
data. In New York, we call it data.
Data is a big, big deal in retail, in hospitality and restaurants. Knowing who your guest is, knowing what they like, understanding their shopping preferences, their eating habits, et cetera. And looking at credit card data is really interesting because you can see where people are from. You can see kind of age. You can see what they're spending on. Are they going to what hotels, et cetera? Now, over at Big Chicken, you're saying that you're seeing that a lot of customers paying the bill over there are in their 40s and 50s, but yet the shopper may not be in their 40s.
The shopper's in their 40s and 50s.
But the person that's actually eating the food may be much younger. That's the person really paying the credit card.
Maker, the driver.
It's not even a Big Chicken thing. It's fast food, fast casual, right? Think about your own family. Who decides what fast casual restaurant you're eating? You go fine dining, right? It's your spouse. You go fast food, it's your kid, normally your oldest kid. When I joined Anheuser-Busch, I was the head of global shopper marketing. And back then they knew exactly who you were when the can was in your hand, had no idea why you would go to a
What are you
grocery
drinking
store and
there,
buy
Josh?
30 of them. I'm also drinking Starry.
Oh,
Yeah, it's just
excellent.
because you don't have mug here in the studios, you know.
We'll get mugged soon.
We got Pepsi.
Yes.
Pepsi's great. We love our friends at Pepsi.
Okay, good.
Big shout out to Ann and Hugh and the whole team. But your kid is making the decision. And yet the way we read it is not my 12-year-old son basically held my family hostage until we went to the burger joint. We're reading it as a 45-year-old came in and dropped $75 on dinner. And we very quickly say, how do we appeal to that 45-year-old? When the truth of the matter is, I'm never choosing if we're going to that burger joint or pizza joint or whatever it is. It's my kids.
Does that change with age? Like, is it always going to be your kids deciding? I mean, the kids are young right now, but the kids are like 25. Are they still deciding? Or does dad ever get a say?
Dad never gets a say.
Never gets a say. Even when you get older, like when you're 85 and you're down in Boca, do you have a say then?
Nah, then they're like,
Pop, what do you want to do? I just want some coleslaw. I can't eat. I can't chew.
Chats, I've already been told by your family on your 80th birthday, they're just dropping you off at the home
I just need
and wishing you the best.
So you never get to say. Dads never get to decide.
Never, ever. Maybe on Father's Day. That's
Maybe on Father's Day.
Yeah, but you know, no one even goes out on Father's Day. You have to stay home. The dad's got to go get hamburgers and hot dogs. On Mother's Day, it's a big deal.
I will say Mother's Day does trump, respectfully, the Father's Day. But again, Father's Day is a big deal in my household. Listen, before we move on, I do want to address or talk a little bit about, I don't want to remotely suggest the elephant in the room. I want to talk about the 7-footer celebrity in the room. We discussed a lot on your first appearance on the Hangout. We talked about Mr. O'Neal, but I still find it's one of the unintentionally best kept secrets. Mr. O'Neal.
Dr. O'Neal.
Sorry. Doctor. How about Dr. O'Neal, Officer.
To you, Jimmy, to you.
Officer O'Neal, Dr. Shaquille O'Neal. It's hard to watch TV for any amount of time and not see him as a spokesperson, an endorser, and a part of so many companies. And he really does choose them because you've shared amazing stories with me. And someday I hope these stories are made available to others because it's incredible the intentionality of which the brands he does put his name behind, of how he engages with them and why he engages. But Big Chicken is still different. And even this morning I had a call with somebody who wants to know, like, is Big Chicken just another company that Dr. O'Neal put his name on? And that's not the case. I guess I want you to share with our audience how important Big Chicken is to Shaq. Yeah. The thought process, the heart, the history behind Shaq's involvement with Big Chicken. Can you give a little inside baseball, a little insight about, how Shaq's views are towards building, expanding, and why this company is so important to him?
First off, he's our largest shareholder. He gives me crap all the time that I'm the only person he works for free, and I have to remind him that I work for him, right? All sorts of fun. But everything he's done has been deliberate, and it's stories you may not necessarily know. The 5-second version on why he does The General is The General was the auto insurance company that gave him auto insurance when he was a freshman at LSU, when most companies wouldn't. And as a result, he really worked to grow that company. For Big Chicken, as companies wanted him to endorse their chicken brand, he said, look, I would love to endorse a chicken brand. I love chicken. He has that whole barbecue chicken alert thing on TNT and everything else. But he's like, I'd be disloyal to my mom, Mama Lucille, right? And Mama Lucille, when he was a kid, they're a military family, and she'd go to the commissary and buy a bunch of chickens. And one day, fry up the breast, the next day, the thighs, the next day, the drums. And they'd sit around the table and do homework and laugh. And that was his childhood at a young age. And he said, if I'm going to have my name and image and likeness attached to chicken, I want it to be mine, and I want it to be for Mama Lucille.
And it's Mama Lucille's recipes?
It's like anything. It's based on Mama Lucille's recipe. You can't have like an industrial scale-up version. It's like the way you can't take your grandma's brownie and make it times 1,000,000 brownies, but at least not easily. But it was designed with her taste profile and her everything in mind, but for scale. Mama Lucille loves the brand. The last time we were together, she gave me a hug and said, hey, thank you for keeping an eye on the family business, which is how not just Mama Lucille, but also his kids, Tahira and Miles and I have built good relationships. That's the way they refer to it. Always happy to help the family business. This is theirs, and for them, this is very much legacy.
So this isn't a spokesperson type situation.
It's not a spokesperson.
No. It's not that Epson printer stuff where you just kind of
it's a very nice printer.
It's a great printer. Who doesn't like an Epson printer? But, I mean, this is really his business.
He loves Big Chicken to a point that when we need him, he's there. I think our franchisees would love it if he was posting 365 days a year about Big Chicken, but no one posts 365 days a year. He is actively involved in the brand. We're talking with him all the time. He absolutely loves the growth that he's seeing here.
I love it. Let's change gears a little bit, Josh. Are you ready for a little What's Hot?
No.
And what's not?
Hot and not.
All right.
Josh Halpern, we are going to play a little what's hot and what's not. I am going to say to you a word, and you're going to say hot or not. Are you ready, sir?
I guess.
Don't be so excited.
It's a great segment. It's a great segment. Let's do it.
BOGOs.
Glacier cold not.
Curbside pickup.
Lukewarm hot, I guess. No one's excited about it.
Robot delivery.
It will be hot, but not yet.
So BOGOs are ice cold.
Yes.
Curbside delivery, lukewarm.
Warm.
And robot delivery.
Not yet.
It will be hot sometime in the next 50 years.
We really got to question the selection of these items because these were all.
It sounds to me like our producer was thinking about Punta Cana.
Yeah.
I'm good to play. I'm good to
Now,
play.
now I know what you were thinking when
You want to add a hot or not, Jimbo?
Yeah, no, I'm going to play along here a little
All
bit.
right, let's go,
I
Jimbo.
want to talk about the BOGOs, and for those who are not in the weeds of the business, it's a buy one, get one free. Buy one, get one free. I'm going to tee it up to Josh as to why he was quickly negative on that, and I'll just say, as the finance person at this company, what I've learned from operators, they hate discounts. But to be clear, they love rewarding loyalty.
Yeah.
So I want to ask you, Josh,
Discounting's
because to
bad.
me, the buy one, get one is a glaring, basically, attention Kmart shoppers, we're going to give you one for free. It's a discount. And maybe you can answer why you hate that. And you mentioned thanks. You mentioned why the loyalty is so important to you.
I mean, first off, I hate discounts in general. Now, there's one discount I absolutely love, right? And that's every year on Shaquille's birthday, we give a free ice cream cone to everyone who comes in, and they have the ability to wish him happy birthday. But that's tied to an event, right? It's like no different than
but that's like
happy birthday, right? But here's why I hate BOGOs. Yeah.
on his birthday, everyone gets something.
Yeah. Now, I can't do that with Shatsy's birthday.
That's
because
generosity.
Every day is Shatsy's birthday.
every day is Shatsy's
Every
birthday.
day is Shatsy's birthday.
Thank you, Josh.
But we do it for Shaquille's birthday. Other than that, we really don't like food discounts. Every operations person out there, and it's why the marketing person and the operations person go like this a lot. Every operations person has food cost as one of their key metrics, right?
Yes.
So all of a sudden, you're doubling food cost when you do a buy one, get one.
Yeah.
But even from a marketing standpoint, I talk a lot about these 5 pain points: traffic, check size, innovation, server training, commodity cost. So to drive more traffic, you're taking your commodity cost way up. You're playing a whack-a-mole game. It doesn't work. And you're also saying to the
game
guests,
you playing?
Whack-a-mole. You know, the game in the
I like that game.
Squirrel pops
and
up.
the mole.
And
I don't think it's a squirrel.
Sorry.
It's not whack a squirrel.
It's whack-a-mole.
Whack-a-mole.
That's why it's called mole, not squirrel.
That's why I thought he said guacamole.
I'm a native New York guy. Squirrels in the park. They're on my mind.
I thought he said guacamole.
But what you're telling the guest is, look, it's not a $10 sandwich. It's a $5 sandwich, right? We're gouging you the rest of the time because everyone assumes you're
if you
making
could do
money
buy one, get one free, obviously you're overcharging people.
I'm not really a fan of it. If you're going to do discounting, make it very limited. Put it in a certain day of the week, like a major pizza chain near my house does things like kids eat free on Tuesdays. Okay, slowest day of the week. I get why you would look at that.
I mean, kids eating free, that's a serious discount. I mean, there's no money involved.
So you're saying you're losing money when the kid eats free?
I don't. It depends on the kid and how old the kid is and how much they eat. I mean, if Jimmy comes in as the kid, I mean.
Because if it was like the two of you and my 7-year-old, you made money if you fed my 7-year-old for free and not one of the two.
I guess it depends on
So I don't like BOGOs.
Yep. No, I have to tell you, again, I spent a lot of time with operators. My learning curve is really steep. And when I continue to hear from operators, again, the discount, it's a relationship with the guests that is troublesome to them because they're going to have their loyal guests, their wonderful guests who's there anyway and coming because they like the relationship, the food, the experience, the value. And then you're attracting that guest that only showed up because of the discount and they're going to move on to find the next discount.
But you said curbside delivery, you kind of went warm. And I thought like with the expensive delivery, I thought a lot more people were recognizing the curbside. But is drive-through becoming as more and more drive-thrus open, like the new curbside?
Convenience solutions are hot. There's no doubt on that. But whether curbside is the hot one, I mean, curbside.
I think drive-through, I think, is hotter.
Yeah, it's hotter.
Yep.
Now there's great companies out there like Curbit, which Brandit is a proponent of, that really help with ensuring the food's dropped in the right way and you get out of there quicker. But the notion of convenience is very, very hot. But no one's like, hey, you know why I go to that place? Curbside pickup. People like that it's there, which is why it's on the hotter side, but it's lukewarm.
Meet the guests where they're at. Okay, listen. Clearly, Shats and I like to chat, especially Shats. He can't get him to be quiet. I'm kidding, Shats. I'm kidding. But we learned along the way.
Everyone's always complaining my emails are too long, my intros are too long.
Yes. Yeah. So we created Talking Back because we learned along the way. By episode 198, this is 200, we learned that sometimes our guest has a question or two for us. So without further ado, Josh, You're a veteran of the show. We get to give you the microphone. You can ask us anything. Nothing's off the table. Josh, the microphone is yours.
Man, this is dangerous. So, I mean, look, you guys...
All right, thank you very much, Josh. And let's go on to the next section now, Jimbo.
Let Josh play the game.
All right.
I mean, you guys see everything really before most chains see it. I think mainly that's because we all get like 14,000 cold call emails every week from different tech providers. I wish I had time for all of them. I'm
Thank
so
goodness.
sorry to anyone I didn't reach back out to. But what are the one or two that get you guys excited where you're like, man, 6 to 12 months from now, like these guys are going to be like at the table. These are the ones as a restaurant emerging brand you need to see.
Josh, I like it. You know why?
Yeah, why?
That question
'Cause-
really goes to you.
I still am really bullish and really excited about the revenue management, Jimbo. I just think that every industry, not every industry, but so many industries that we relate to hospitality, whether it be travel, hotels, rental cars, all the things that we associate with travel and leisure, and restaurants are certainly part of that, have been very advanced in their revenue management systems, in really sophisticated algorithms of supply and demand. And restaurants have just, like I always laugh, I think the most sophisticated revenue management restaurants have was happy hour. That was the original, right? Happy hour. It's like, I don't really have any customers from, 4 to 6 or 3 to 5, whatever it is. Let's do half price everything. And basically, you just kind of like, you were giving half price to people that were willing to pay full price. It was really no technology, no sophistication. And that was really dynamic pricing, if you will, back in the earliest iteration. But it really didn't make sense because there was no data to support anything. There was no reason. So I still think that, I know there's been some bad press about it, and maybe that's just presented the wrong way. When you start talking about surge pricing, people are like, oh, you're ripping me off. No, it's just supply and demand. When you're really busy, like Christmas week, try and get a hotel down in Miami Christmas week. See what you're going to pay.
You sit on a flight, the chances of you paying the same price as the person to your left, right, front, and behind you is remote. Yeah. I think I like your answer, Shatsy, and I think the hospitality industry is held to a really, unfortunately, a different standard. Part of it, there's a personalization that the guest has. And the fact is, we don't even call our customers or clients. We call them guests. We want them to feel this relationship, and they're consuming the food, and they want to feel a relationship where the idea of dynamic pricing and revenue management, it sounds a little impersonal. We'll get there. We'll figure it out.
So with dynamic pricing, the easier way to get at it's on promotion than on everyday price. It's funny. I'm a data geek guy hiding and having a midlife crisis in fried chicken sandwiches, right? But when I was at Anheuser-Busch, we looked at all sorts of dynamic pricing mechanisms for promotion. In fact, we once did a conjoint analysis with over 140,000 different possibilities, A or B, which promotion do you like better? And I remember during the 2014 World Cup, we were working with a really large casual dining chain down in Florida. They're like, we're torn, right? Do we do $2 off wings, $2 off beer, or wings plus beer for $13.99? And I said, run a plate of wings, get a pitcher of beer, $5. And the guy screams at me and tells me to get out of his office. You can't make this up. And as we're leaving, I said, I'm so sorry I offended you. But how much is a plate of wings? He goes, $10. Why? And I go, so I'm getting you 15 versus $13.99. Why am I all the nasty things you just said about me? He's like, I should have known better. Sit down, right? That's dynamic pricing, right? Yeah. It's how do you lay out a promotion where the consumer says, man, that sounds awesome, even if it is margin accretive for you. Promotions don't have to be about giving money away. Promotions could be about taking money back, but in a way that's perceived as giving greater value. That's where this is going to evolve to. And I know you guys are starting to get involved in the space, working with Juicer and some other companies. Yeah. This is where this is going to evolve to. It's going to be on promotion, not on base price.
Josh, be spilling knowledge.
Dropping knowledge.
Isn't
that what we're about? Infotainment?
It really is.
We're dropping knowledge.
You can't give me shit about Cornell for 30 minutes and not expect me to drop something.
No, this podcast, you know what? This should be listened to in all schools. I think starting as early as first or second grade, I think people should listen to this because I think it's really educational.
My first graders listening. That's why
I just think it's really educational. And speaking of education, there's no better way of learning about the value of anything than The Price is Right.
Oh, I mean, Spice is Right.
The Spice is Right. I would sit. I remember on a sick day from school when I would tell my mom I didn't feel well. I mean, the best part of that was watching Bob Barker. And I got to tell you, so for all you kids out there listening to this incredible podcast, which is not only entertaining but certainly educational, let's jump into a little Spice is Right, shall we? Josh Halpern, Jimmy Frischling.
Let's play.
Crap.
All right, here we go. I am going to ask you here at the Showcase Showdown, Mary Jane is going to bring in this beautiful Carvel Fudgy the Whale cake.
My favorite.
Beautiful Fudgy the Whale cake, because your dad is a whale of a guy, right, Jimbo?
Whale of a guy.
He's a whale of a guy. And what I'm going to ask you, Josh, okay, because in honor of celebrating my birthday over 14 times, maybe 15 times in 15 different cities, Josh has a way, and him and Jeff Alexander and some others, every time we have dinner, they love it's Shatz's birthday. Of course, they don't tell me. And then the birthday cake comes over and everyone sings happy birthday. The waiters sing happy birthday. It's always a good laugh. It's embarrassing as all bloody hell.
It used to be Jeff Alexander's quinceañera. It graduated to Shatz's birthday.
It's in honor of that. We're going to bring out the Carvel Fudgy the Whale cake. And I am going to ask Josh, first off, without going over, and we have fabulous prizes, by the way. The Showcase Showdown today in The Price is Right is not just you win Fudgy the Whale cake, but you win a lifetime supply of those delicious flying saucers.
Oh, wow.
I love those flying. Am I right?
They're fantastic.
I mean, those with the crunchy outside, really delicious.
Really good.
So the price of a Fudgy the Whale cake, Josh, without going over, can you give me the price of Fudgy the Whale?
No idea. $16.99.
$16.99. Okay. Jimbo, would you care to guess?
I'm not going to be cheeky and go a penny over Josh. That'd be unfair to my friend. That's not the spirit of which. That's not how we roll. So the price that was on my mind, and I recognize after Josh.
When was the last time you bought a Carvel cake?
I've not purchased a Carvel Fudgy the Whale cake in decades. However, every summer on my nephew's birthday, my younger brother buys him a Fudgy the Whale. So I've enjoyed the Fudgy the Whale. It's a large cake.
Yeah,
it's
so
a
here's
good cake.
my problem. I just posted on my social channel. It's my favorite cake.
It's a great
what
cake.
I get every year on my birthday.
I think it's
I've never bought one,
6 to 8 people or 4 to 6?
Well, that's my thing.
Yeah.
Hold on,
Like,
let Josh finish.
I've never bought one.
The honest number that was on my mind, and now I think I'm going to be way high because Josh is an expert at procurement, supply chain, and maniacal.
But I think he was thinking about Fudgy the Minnow.
I'm going $29. I just leapfrog, but I'm going $29.
I got to tell you, Jimbo, you really do have this. Jimmy Frischling at $32.99. The Frischling family wins the Showcase Showdown here on the fabulous Price is Right.
Henry Frisch, that's for you, baby. You're the Fudgy the Whale, man. Henry Frisch, that's for you.
Unbelievable. What a great showdown. Really great showdown. All right, now we got to jump right back into...
Oh, hold on. Let me jump in. I grabbed this thing. We're doing the Trivia Tuesday. Listen, at the top of the show, we're playing the game. I gave you 3 factoids about our friend Josh. You're going to have to guess now, and you can play along at home, too. Here were the 3 factoids again. Josh once had to be separated from an altercation with Pitbull. That was fact 1. Fact 2. Josh was on an episode of Kitchen Nightmare with Gordon Ramsay. Sir Gordon Ramsay. Fact 3, Josh invented Peeps Pop. All right, Shatsy, play the game.
I think it's really obvious that he invented Peeps Pop because he worked with the Peeps.
He invented it.
He came up with the idea, and they shut it down. Wherever they were. They're like, Josh, that was the dumbest idea I've ever had. Out.
And talked about insulting our guest.
That's how we got the job at Impact.
Okay. Again, in my biopic of very loose facts, that would be relevant.
That's right. Okay. He was never on an episode of Kitchen Nightmares, Gordon Ramsay.
But you kind of hedged there.
No, because I look at it. He was never on Kitchen Nightmare.
Okay.
No, he was never with Gordon Ramsay.
So the lie.
I think he may have met Gordon Ramsay. Right across the street, there's his restaurant. And Josh in Vegas all the time. I think he ate there. He met
Okay, so you're going the two truths. Altercation with Pitbull, true. Peeps Pop, true. Gordon Ramsay, false.
Yeah.
Is that clear?
Yes.
Mr. Halpern?
Yeah.
How did our friend do?
Schatz is right.
Boom!
It wasn't Gordon Ramsay. I was on an episode of Bar Rescue with John Taffer. John Taffer consulted with me for years. And then Pitbull, if you ever hire Pitbull to do a gig, he has very specific moments where he wants to be called Armando and very specific moments where he wants to be called Pitbull. And if you mix up those moments, he gets very, very conversational with you.
Very conversational.
Very conversational, and we'll just leave it at that.
Yes.
He gets very conversational with you.
Is that in the rider? Like, at these moments, call me Armando. At these moments, call me Pitbull.
All I know is I think I tried to call him by name like 8 times, and I got 2 out of 8 right.
2 out of 8.
You got to just go Mr. 305, right?
I don't think he ever wants to be called that.
Oh, he doesn't?
No.
Is that not a good name?
I don't know.
Mr. 305? It's a good name.
And by the way,
Mr. 212?
Mr. 212.
Well, you wouldn't like that?
Nah, I like Mr. Jimmy.
Mr. Jimmy.
That's the next.
That's our restaurant that we're going to open Mr. Jimmy's one of these days.
So, by the way, to be clear, you invented Peeps Pop. My daughter thanks you.
So, Peeps Pop, we had a call with Walmart, and they were like, have you ever looked at putting 5 of these colors on a stick? And I was like, our plant doesn't do it, but these are the 10 things we would need to have happen in order for it to go. And they're like, well, we could help you with that. So then I had to bring that back to the team and started the project. And those 5 different color peeps on a lollipop stick didn't exist until 2011. If you're Shats who hates peeps, I'm sorry. And
It's
if you
not a
love peeps
hate.
out there, you're
It's
welcome.
not a hate. It's
It's
just,
a hate.
they're not good.
Shatsy, I want to be very clear something. This is
If I'm
very
going to eat sugar,
this
that's
is very
not
important to me.
What
It's
I'll
very
tell you is,
important
if
to me.
I bring you out to Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, and you ate one right off the line, you'd fall in love.
Who
It's
makes
still
peeps?
hot.
Who makes
The
peeps?
Just Born Candy Company.
If Just Born Candy wants to sponsor this podcast, I change my entire thought
Just wait.
process.
Here's a
Peeps.
kindergarten lesson. Everything we need to know we learned in kindergarten.
That's right.
Don't yuck on someone else's yum. Don't criticize the pops. My daughter loves the pops.
There's no way she likes.
Loves the pops.
She likes the look. She probably likes to play with them. You smush them around and you make that stuff that you do with the marshmallows. You smush them and then you eventually
You're
make a
yucking.
ball
You're
or
yucking on
something.
someone else's yum.
All right, listen, we got to jump on because Josh Halpern's got stores to open. I mean, there's things happening
going
in Big
global.
Chicken that you don't even know what's happening, Jimbo. But right now, we're going Brandon Quickfire. I'm going to ask Mr. Halpern 5 lightning round questions. I don't want him to think too long. I don't want him to think too hard. First answer that comes to mind. Are you ready, Mr. Halpern?
Go for it.
All right. If you could eat dinner with anyone in the world, dead or alive, not Jimmy, not me, who would it be? Or you could yell at Jimmy or me. You know, like, what the
I
hell?
don't think we're going to rank that high, but go ahead.
I mean, I was going to answer Shatsy.
That's why I went back with it. You can include us.
I'd go Ray Kroc, actually. I think it would be really fascinating to pick his brain on being a restaurant franchising guy back before that was a thing.
That's Michael Keaton, right?
Well, it's actually Ray Kroc.
Like maybe like Michael Keaton, Multiplicity. I'll take like version 4. I don't know.
Anytime I see
Yeah.
a movie and they're playing a biopic, that's how immediately what I go to. You know, it's like Michael Keaton was Ray Kroc. Facebook was Jesse Eisenberg or whatever, you know what I'm talking about? That's Mark Zuckerberg, no?
This is Quickfire.
Who's Moses? Charlton Heston.
Charlton Heston.
There
Oh,
you
is
go.
that not Moses? When you think Moses, who do you go to?
Mel Brooks.
I would go Mel Brooks also. How many commandments does he have?
15.
I mean 10.
10 commandments.
Your most used app on your phone.
Probably Instagram or ESPN.
Oh, yeah, it's such full of shit. He doesn't have ESPN on his phone.
Again, you're making fun of our guests.
No, I'm not. All right. Would you rather choose a flight upgrade or a hotel room upgrade? Like, what do you rather have an upgrade
Flight upgrade, hands down. I'm like the Energizer Bunny. You've seen me. Like I sleep 4 hours. I don't need a good hotel room.
Jimmy's the best to check in with. He checks into the hotel. He's like, I don't want any housekeeping. Not once, not twice. 0 housekeeping. Give me 4 extra towels. And
No,
don't.
but Jimmy's different. He builds like a pillow fort in the corner and sucks his thumb. It's
And then he puts his whole office set up with the headphones on, starts landing planes immediately.
Yes.
Yeah, he doesn't
Stay
want
out of my
anybody.
room.
But I agree. Like the room, you're never in the room. I remember
No.
we went to Vegas one time.
Yes.
Jimmy and I, we were literally there for a night.
They gave
I
us the
think
best rooms.
Jimmy got a suite.
Oh, my
wrapped
God.
It was like 360 with pianos.
Yes.
It would have been great when we
It
were
would
like
have been great if I had time to be in the room.
And it's the worst too. Like you get that room on that night, and then like you're away with your wife, and they're
Yes.
like we gave you double beds.
Yeah, we upgraded your view. I get that parking lot. I'm like, this is an upgrade? Yes, no, 100%. Favorite candy bar, Josh Halpern?
Candy bar,
It doesn't have to be candy.
Could it be
Why about
favorite
favorite candy?
Swedish fish.
Swedish fish are
very,
delicious.
very
I
delicious.
do like that. And you know who else likes that? Dentist. Dentists all like, they encourage. When I have kids take my kid to the dentist, they're like, listen, brush your teeth and plenty of Swedish fish and gummy bears and gummy worms. They love that.
Exactly.
If you were to challenge Jimmy or I to a game of Pictionary, who do you have better odds of beating? Pictionary, Jimmy or Shatsy? Pictionary.
Eating. I mean, what I could tell you, Shats, is I mean, you barely speak English, so you'd be an
I
disaster.
speak swell.
Yeah. So
I speak good English.
I don't know. You have that artistic mind. I think you'd be a better Pictionary player. I think I beat Jimmy before I beat you.
I'm a good drawer. I really am a very good drawer. Is that good for Pictionary?
I think that's very helpful for
Yeah,
Pictionary.
you're not.
I'm
very
not a good drawer. I think you're right.
Have you seen this whiteboard sessions?
All I know is your office is like something out of a beautiful mind. There's just diagrams everywhere, little arrows. I have no idea what's happening.
You know what? I think it wows people when they come in. They're like, "Whoa, this guy really knows what he's doing."
Nah, your
That's all
office
that
is
is.
great. Your office
That's
is
all
great.
that is all about. All right. Well, listen, I got to tell you, that was a great quick fire. I would say best quick fire ever.
It may have been the best quick fire. I'm going to disagree on Josh, even though I can't draw. Draw. You sometimes lack maybe, what's the word I'm looking for? Attention.
Right.
So my feeling is any game you're playing, my sense is within minutes, you're out there somewhere else doing something else.
But if the question was like, who would I want on my Family Feud team or Shats, I would choose you.
There, I appreciate that.
Dictionary, though, I think I'd choose Shats.
Okay, fair point. Hey, that's why we play the game.
Yeah.
All right, you got to play. Listen, Josh, we want to thank you so much for joining us on the podcast. You and the things you're doing with Big Chicken are really awesome. And we've spent a lot of time together. We've watched what you're building and you and the team. And again, I think this is a special company, a special brand, and we're really excited.
Where's Sam? Why is Sam not here today?
We're not always together, just most of the time.
But that's ridiculous.
But I have to say, not only do you have a great, obviously, founder and certainly partner and doctor, Shaquille O'Neal, but we love the way you're leaning into a tech stack with intentionality that we feel is just almost unmatched right now as you're thinking about how to build this in order to bring value to your franchisees. So thank you for that. If any of our listeners want to get in touch with Josh directly, you can email the podcast team at podcast@brandedstrategic.com. And then I never want to end a podcast without recognition and gratitude to our listeners. You continue to embrace the podcast. We know there are literally thousands of them, but we love that our subscriber base and our listener base continues to grow exponentially. And I think it's because we get folks and friends like Mr. Halpern to come on the show, share some insights, share some things that they're working on. And then we also get to have a little bit of fun together. So this infotainment thing is pretty good.
Fun, Jimbo.
So this is Jimmy Frischling, your finance guy, thanking you and passing it back to my boy Shatsy to close this out.
I got to tell you, Josh Halpern, Big Chicken, thank you. Josh, for all those listeners that want to, find Big Chicken to go eat at and enjoy the most delicious food, is it just bigchicken.com?
Bigchicken.com.
Bigchicken.com.
And now let me ask you this. For anybody interested, if I wanted to get a franchise or multiple franchise, are their franchises still available?
Bigchicken.com.
Bigchicken.com. If I want to open up a franchise somewhere around the world, not in the United States, where do I go?
Bigchicken.com.
Bigchicken.com.
Not just the world. We even sold one in outer space, the Blue Origin.
Oh, I like that, Jimmy.
Yes,
I can do a song. Bigchicken.com. What do you think?
Don't quit your day job. Love you, brother.
Bigchicken.com.
And that's how that became our jingle.
Cheers, everybody.
Cheers.